Welcome, everybody, to the Cat Cast, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy. All right, welcome back, Bobcat fans. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Cat Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Foley. He's your host, Ryan Thornburg. We are the Ryans of the R&R, the Montana State affiliate of the Big Sky Podcast Network. And we have a sweet sponsor, Gear Up Sports, a youth sports platform focused on solving the uniform and apparel headaches for coaches. If you're a youth or high school coach and need some uniforms or player packs or some R&R gear, we have a little shop with Gear Up Sports. Contact them at www.gearupwithus.com and make sure to mention the R&R Catcast. It's getting close to Christmas time. You could get some R&R swag for your wife. They have,
yes,
probably
super popular
but
gift for your wife.
We're here, second part of Cat Griz week, and we have a special guest with us, Zach Lavier. Zach, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me back on. It's been a long season. It's been a fun season. Let's get into it.
All right. Before we talk to Thorny, because who cares about Thorny?
No.
Let's mention something special about Zach. We brought Zach on. We've been developing this friendship with Zach, and he's part of the R&R now. He's going to be taking over our basketball duties, and he's going to be leading a weekly show, a weekly podcast for us under the R&R umbrella. There you go.
Corporation, the media conglomerate.
Thorny and I will be joining him, but he will be the main guy. He's a student over at Montana State. He'll be going to all the games. And so that's going to make us sound way better and more knowledgeable. And so that's awesome news for us, and we're happy to have him.
Yeah, I'm excited, too, to have you, Zach. It'll help put out some more content that we just kind of, by the time football season's over, our candle's kind of burned out. But basketball season's going, and we've been wanting to figure out a way to bring more basketball content in, and we're excited to have Zach on board to help do that.
Yeah, I'm super excited to do it. College basketball, I think, sometimes gets a bad rep, especially early in the season with so much going on. And after the last 2 years, I think it was really cool because people were, after the football seasons, were just jonesing for more Bobcat stuff. So getting to know the team, getting to know the new coaching staff, I think it's going to be awesome. And I'm really excited for both the men's and women's seasons this year. I think they can do some special things.
It's been such a fun stretch of Bobcat basketball. Historically, I watch the Cats, but, it is what it is. But I've been so invested the last couple of seasons. We've been so good that I was in full on basketball mode. Well, after March Madness ended, Foley would be texting me about football stuff. I'm like, man, I still got basketball on the brain. I know it's over, but I'm not ready for football yet. Dude, that's the first time it's happened in a while.
You were still in basketball season in September.
It took a while, man. It was so fun being that excited about Bobcat basketball again.
Yeah. I think, the Danny Sprinkle episode that you guys did when he left for Utah State was one of the saddest episodes I think has been on this podcast. And then just trying to find a candidate and stuff. I just think it showed how invested everybody got. It was gosh, these players, and sometimes that's hard in college basketball with the bigger teams with one and done, that who Jabril Bello was, who Raekwon Battle was, Robert Ford coming over. I think he's going to do some awesome things this year. And at a major level, I think we can really get to know these players and know their stories and see what they can do and hopefully get in our tournament run.
Just a real quick update here on the men's team. Currently beating Cal. Keeping an eye on that as we record here on a Thursday night. We've just been one delay after another the last 3 weeks fully. Between sicknesses, technical issues, me. What was it? Me on Monday. I did something that caused us to not record on Monday. I don't remember what it was.
You had a family emergency.
That's right. That's right. What am I talking about? But yeah, we didn't record on Monday. We wanted to do this on Wednesday. Now it's Thursday. But hey,
we're here.
We're here.
Oh my gosh, it's been a wild ride. And yeah, so now we're here to talk about the Cat Griz game. And,
Cat Griz.
Yeah. Football season.
The brawl.
Guys. The brawl.
The battle, the brawl.
Zach, what are you, man? What do you prefer?
Cat Griz is always good. You can call it that, but I like the brawl. Coulter, I don't like Coulter's take about the wild and stuff like that. Like, I live in Bozeman. I moved here in May after I got out of the military, and I can't walk my dog on sourdough without. I saw two bears this summer, and then I had to carry my bear spray with me. So he's talking about not being in the wild. I'm like, there's bears in town. There's
a little wild.
There's things. It's Montana. I think it's a cool name. It's cool. The Brawl.
Well, I'll tell you, anybody from like Seattle is going to call us the Wild. Anybody from New York, anyone from a big city, this is very much the Wild. So I like the name.
Yeah.
So Foley, are you team Brawl or?
I'm team Cat Griz. Brawl the Wild's fine by me.
Okay.
Never.
There's only one wrong answer. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's true. There's only one real wrong answer.
All right.
We won't even speak it.
Let me paint a picture for what we got going on tonight. This is part 2 of our Cat Griz week. And Thorny, you mentioned that sometimes there's too much content. Well, we're just feeding right into that. I do have a theory on that. I will talk about a little bit later. So we're going to go into the Golden Coolie questions, the fan submitted questions. And I think with the 3 of us, we're just going to have a good conversation and we'll just see wherever it takes us. And so I think for the listener, you're just going to have exactly what you would have with your buddy sitting at home, just talking about the Cat Griz. You're 2 days out from the Cat Griz. When you listen to this, it'll be 1 day out from the Cat Griz. It's here. Brawl Wild 122nd edition. I got that one right. There it is. Oh, what do you got there, Thorny? Ooh, Golden Coolies. No?
Yeah. I'm just saying, do you want to get into that segment? I think that's a good
transition. We should. Let's talk about what's in our Golden Coolie.
Guess go first here, but let me play it.
What's in your Golden Coolie?
Somehow it's even more embarrassing playing that while someone else is live on this. That thing has always made me like, that sounds so stupid. I made that. That's me. That's my voice. It's like I'm embarrassed by it to a degree.
Do I get to say this segment's brought to you by Wilbur Ellis?
Go for it. Yeah. Knock yourself out.
All right. This segment's brought to you by Wilbur Ellis. Contact them for all your needs in the Golden Triangle.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Yep. Farming and fertilizer needs. Yep. Shay Richter. Absolutely. What do you got over there, Zach?
All right. So I have a Dad Bod Pale Ale with an awesome looking can from Last Best Place Brewing on 7th and 7th Street here in Bozeman.
See, he's going to have all the cool local Bozeman brews. Yeah, you can't get that. I can't get any Bozeman beers over here.
Town and Country.
Oh, man, I miss Town and Country. Well, nice. Good choice. How is it?
Pretty good. First thing I've had from them. I've wanted to stop in a while. Haven't yet, but it looks like an awesome little brewery right there on 7th.
What part of 7th?
Oh, it's in one of the new buildings. It's right there by the Cat's Paw and the U-Haul.
Nice. Yep. Right on. Cool. I have a Coors Light. Kind of unceremoniously, but this is like the cans that you get at the baseball games with the aluminum bottle ones. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with those.
No. I debuted the Black Butte Porter on Tuesday. I had to go with something a little bit different.
Yeah. I know. I didn't have much of a choice for this one either. Like, I chose the beer I wanted to choose already on Monday. So now I have my last Oktoberfest lager from Silver City Brewing in my Golden Coolie here, which I drank for the first time like 2 weeks ago. So I had a 6-pack. That took me about a month to finish it. But here it is, finishing the last one.
It's a good episode to finish it on.
Yeah. Finishing my last good Oktoberfest right before the biggest game of the season, the finale. But not the last one.
Won't be the last one.
Yeah. So, Thorny, before we get into any football.
Yeah.
So you talked about not partaking in a lot of Cat Griz media this week because you just feel, I don't know, how did you describe your feeling on that?
I don't know how to describe it, man. It's just like, I just kind of want it to get to Saturday.
Yeah.
I kind of just want to tune everything out, all the noise, even the good noise, like just all of the noise, put on noise canceling headphones, make it to Saturday.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. No other week does this.
I think there's a little bit of science behind that. I was listening to a Freakonomics episode years ago, and they were talking about how Trader Joe's does so damn good in the the grocery store business. And it's something to do with their approach to offering fewer products per like item. Like if you go to Trader Joe's for spaghetti sauce, you really only get maybe two 2 shots at it. And so, whereas they were doing studies in like with kids who had like all these sweet toys produced in action with them, but if you gave them an option of 3 toys or 2 toys, it produced more action. So maybe, just maybe, with all the content coming out during Cat Griz Week, you just have a glut of it, and it produces some sort of inaction to you because you just don't know what to choose.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite possible too.
Yeah.
Do you think it is too that we're just very educated Bobcat fans? Like we just follow the Griz and Bobcats all season, and then people come in at the end of the year with their hot takes and their end of the year reviews, and it's like, yeah, we watched all of that. We know what these teams are. We know what offenses they are, and they have the breakdowns. It's like, yeah, we know most of this stuff because we've watched it. We're educated. We know what's going to work and what's not going to work at this point.
There's certainly selective stuff that not just for Cat Griz, but all year long, where it's like, I'm the diehard Bobcat fan, so if it's not something that's I think is going to give me any sort of new insight or new information, I'm probably not interested in it. Yep. But there's lots of good stuff in Cat Griz Week, though, like all the interviews that Calder has been doing. Denarius McGee was on there. I didn't listen to that yet. I don't know if I will. And I love Denarius McGee. It's just, I don't know.
But at the same time, with all the interviews, you get about 10 minutes of very topical, man, it's a big game. Wow, I can't believe this is going to happen with this and this. And then, but the actual meat, like the nuggets you're searching for, they're rarely there.
It's true. Yeah, I'm tired of the narratives, I guess.
Yeah.
Just want to hear some football. So that's kind of what I was hoping we'd talk a little bit about tonight, some actual football. But narratives are just fine, too. It's fine when we're talking about it. It's not fine when other people talk about it. Because ours are fresh and different.
I like that Zach called us educated Bobcat fans, too.
I think we are. I mean, I think there's a sect of the fans that are heavily educated Bobcat fans. There's also a sect of Griz fans that I do listen to, unfortunately, every once in a while, who do have some education. Maybe not from the University of Montana, but they're educated.
I may not know a ton about football, but I know like who our third string right guard is. I can name these kinds of things. I mean, I was knowledgeable about like the Bobcat program as I can possibly be from my position in Washington, but football IQ is still probably, I'm not going to be getting any job offers anywhere as an analyst or a coach of any kind. But yeah, we're kind of expert Bobcat fans as far as knowing the team and the coaches and all the good stuff you want to know about.
That is true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get right into the Golden Coolie questions. Speaking of being expert fans, I'm just going to jump into one right now. Bobcat fan 123 called us. He goes, as sports journalist of Montana State Bobcats, do you have a certain obligation to watch at least one game in Washington Grizzly Stadium? And 2, do you think watching the game in Missoula would change the way you would see the rivalry?
So is he insinuating like we need to go
into hostile territory?
Yeah, do we need to watch a game live in Washington Grizzly Stadium and it doesn't have to be Cat Griz, or does he mean
I've seen a Cat Griz in Washington Grizzly Stadium when I was in college, so that's not new to me.
I've been to 2 or 3. 3. I've been to 3, I think.
Yeah. Zach, you?
I think I've only been to 1. It was the 2013 brawl. Was the last brawl I went to. That was at home though, but I've never seen a game at Griz.
That was in Bozeman. So okay, so this question's for you, Mr. New Media.
I mean, you need new media.
You need to
using that term very
get a press pass and go over to Washington Grizzly Stadium for the game.
I did look at tickets. Secondary market was about $125 to get in the door, which I thought was surprisingly low.
That's not terrible. I find
that was kind of my thought. Yeah, that was my thought. Is secondary market. I'm like, it's borderline.
That's a scalper. That's a fake ticket.
Yeah.
My sister is a bit of a good luck charm. She goes to these games. She lives in Missoula, so she was there in the 2018 in the north or in the end zone when the Miracle Missoula happens, and amongst others. And she just has these great stories where she's like just yelling at the Missoula faithful and doing things that would make my dad not proud of her. As far as just being a rabid fan, I suppose I shouldn't throw my sister underneath the bus. It makes me proud. I'm like, yeah, Sarah, go for it. But no, I don't. Can you believe that's the
last time we beat them there?
2018.
The Miracle Missoula was last time we beat them in Missoula.
Well, yeah, I mean,
yeah, because we only had one since
because of the COVID year and stuff. That feels
that
weird.
Is kind of crazy. I didn't really think about that. Hey, quick question though before we move off the subject: is your sister going?
No, I don't think so. Maybe.
No. Oh, no.
She might have tickets, and I think they come from Bobby Houck, maybe, actually. She was telling me there is a pathway where she might get a ticket from release tickets from Bobby Houck to this person, and then to my
Tainted
sister.
goods.
I know. I was like, that's really
Direct
interesting.
from the source.
Well, that's cool. She gets to go to the games, though. Hopefully, she gets to go or whatever. But
yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking she's not. I think she told me she was just gonna not accept that and then just go to like a little sports bar or something. So
I'd just be curious to see how many Cats fans were there from what the NAU game for Montana was, where they were like, you could sell your season tickets and make up your for the Cat game, and you could make your season ticket money back just off that one game.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's this big, huge event. It's going to be one of the biggest brawls maybe ever. And it's like, wow, how that narrative changes quickly.
Yeah, I hope some Grizz fans sold their ticket after the NAU game.
Back then at week 3 or 4.
I bet you some did. It may not be a big number, but I guarantee somebody sold their ticket. Like, I'm not going to go to this game. I'm hoping there's a big contingent of Cat fans.
Yeah. All right. Thorny, why don't you choose a question for us to get into?
I wasn't ready for that. Let me go to Twitter. I got one on Twitter. This kind of ties into what we're talking a little bit about. As I just said, I want to talk about some football, and here we are talking about like not actual football related stuff. But Mike Nice on Twitter asks us, as students, what did your Bobcat fandom look like? Did you go to every game, analyze the opponent, give kickers nicknames, or were you there for the student experience? And what would you do differently if you could go back and do it over?
I'll answer that first. I went to every game except one, and that was because I had a girlfriend in Missoula, and I was visiting her at the time. So yeah, I remember being there, and I wasn't a huge Bobcat fan before going to Montana State. Slightly Bobcat fan. I had family in Bozeman. I definitely rooted for the Cats, but I wasn't had like a vested interest. And then I remember being in North Hedges. I'm like, well, we got a football game today. That's what I went in high school. Went to the football games. I wasn't a player in high school, so I was a fan still. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to the game. And I walked up. We were playing Adams State, and there was no one in the stands. We were coming off a 0-11 season. So I went right down on the 50-yard line because you just showed your one card. There was do they still have one cards? Yeah.
It's called Cat Card now, but
Cat
cards. They're very familiar. They're very similar.
So I just showed that, and I walked in. I was like, where do I sit? And I just walked right to the front, middle. And I just remember being there, and I was like, oh, we're kind of a bad team. And like there's some frat boys behind us, and they were screaming, eat. I'm not kidding. We don't cuss here, but they were doing the Grizzly chant, and I'm like, we're not even playing the Grizzlies. I was just like, but something got me. I was like, I guess I'll come back next week, and then I just became more and more of a fan after that, and was there for all of Lule, so I got to ride that train, and man, I don't think I would do anything different. So to answer Mike's question, I think I did everything exactly what I should have done.
Technicality, if your first game was Adams State, they are the Grizzlies.
Yeah, that's true.
So if they were chanting that, technically it works.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they had the wherewithal for that or not, but maybe lucked into that one. I didn't go to all the games. I was a huge fan. Like I became a diehard, same as you. I wasn't really a fan too much before I came to Montana State. Even my first year, it was really being in the marching band in 2002 in Missoula at when we broke the streak. That kind of just like lightning bolt of fandom just hit me, and that was hooked for life after that. But I wouldn't go to every game. I would watch every game. Like when we started getting them more on TV, I would actually just stay in my dorm or something and sometimes just watch it on TV. And I don't really know why. I just think there's the pressure of going there. I didn't want to drink necessarily all the time, and or maybe I didn't have anyone to go with. I think was a big part of it too. Like I didn't have anyone to go with sometimes, so I was like, I'll just stay and watch it at home. So to change my experience, that's all I would do differently. Would be to make sure I don't miss any of the home games, because now I'm sad that I'm like hardly ever going to go to a home game. Right. But I did do a lot of analyzing. I actually started a Big Sky Conference blog in 2004 or so. I covered like the entire Big Sky. I was writing blog posts, doing predictions and all sorts of stuff. So I was into that even way back then. That's almost 20 years ago now that I started a blog on blogspot.com. I don't even know if that thing exists anymore, but
I was going to say, is that out there on the ether of the internet to go find?
Yeah. What did I call that? It might have been the Big Sky football blog. What did I call that? But yeah, I was definitely writing about the Big Sky and loving the Big Sky way back then even.
Well, my parents met in the 90s at a MSU football game selling pizzas. So technically, without Montana State Bobcat football, I might not be here right now. So that's my connection to start. But I, as a current student, I'm happy because I graduated high school in 2016 and then obviously served in the military for a little bit. And MSU was one of my choices. I got in and thought about going right out of high school, but ended up going to the military. But one of my thoughts was, if I would have won out of high school, they would have beaten the Griz all 4 years I was there. But I think we have a better chance of winning a national championship now. So a little bit of a fun trade-off.
Yep. Well, that's a question that Cat fans might have to wrestle with at some point. Is it worth losing to the Griz if it means a national championship?
It's came pretty close. All over again.
Yep. I would trade it easily.
How'd you find us, Zach?
So I went to the Eastern, that 2021, I think it was the Eastern game where we beat Eastern at Eastern for the first time in forever. And I was there and it was just awesome. And I think I just started looking for more content.
Yeah.
I think that's what came up is I just started looking and found more Bobcat content. I think I found this and you guys were super, super hyped after that game. And I was like, I can get behind this thing. I can get behind this train.
Nice. It's probably a good one to catch us on after a win when we're all yippee skippy. Although sometimes after wins, we're not all yippee skippy.
No. Yeah.
That's funny.
Depends on how tired we are when we record.
That really comes down to it. The energy level is not so much dictated by the outcome. It's where we are in our personal lives and how tired we are at the moment.
What time has this been recorded at night?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it. bscfootball.blogspot.com. It's still kind of hanging out there.
Still kicking.
So BCS, like Big Sky Conference Football.blogspot.com. Oh, yeah. Looking at it. Trip down memory lane. Okay, let's move on to something else.
Okay, let's get into some golden coolies. Let's see. Montana Bob says, how many minutes is the over-under on the ref calling unsportsmanship on both sidelines? I don't get that reference. Did that happen? I think that happened to a Griz game, right?
It happened to the Cats, didn't it?
No, I think Sack and the Griz got called for unsportsmanlike.
Yeah, they called a unsportsmanlike on every single player on each team, and that's what they said.
That's odd.
So basically, any other unsportsmanlike, and you were ejected.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was weird. There was like a hit out of bounds. Somebody pushed like Junior Bergen into the bleacher on the Griz sideline, like an extra little shove, and then the entire Griz bench got up after him, and then the whole Sac State came over, and they were like a big congregation, and the ref just called a foul on everybody. It was pretty funny. I've never heard that before. Personal foul on all members of each team. It was like, what? But what about the guys that were sitting over on the bench on the other side? Were like not even paying attention. They got a foul. It's super weird. So I don't know if he's talking about like sideline infraction or something like that, but I don't know. I don't feel like there's a whole lot of crazy flags in Cat Griz usually.
Well, the better question I think is, does this game get chippy?
Oh, yeah.
I don't feel like get too chippy. I feel there's usually a lot of hard hits, but I don't remember a whole lot of Cat Griz where they started like actually pushing and shoving. Maybe like last year when we beat him so bad and Robbie Houck got all pissy and then he got a personal foul on himself. But
I was going to say he's not playing this year.
In general, I don't think there's too much of chippiness.
Still collecting stats.
I think the players kind of respect each other a little bit.
I think you're right. I think you're right, Thorny. But if it can get chippy if we get punched early and can't respond or something like that.
Yeah, usually it gets the
Julius
most
Davis
chippy.
will lead it.
Yeah.
If it.
yeah, that's right.
If it happens.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to put a bet on the first person to get one on the Bobcats, Julius Davis would probably be. I don't know. Has he got one yet? He's come close. But yeah, it usually gets chippy if it's a butt whipping one way or the other. Then the losing team starts getting a little cranky. I think it's probably the most likely where it would get chippy.
All right. Going on to the second question, Colorado Cat says both teams are committed to playing 2 QBs. Which QB plays more snaps for each team?
I think McDowell has a pretty short leash in this game.
You think so?
I think so. I think if the Cats do what they did last year and we score on our first 2 drives and they for some reason have any sort of 3 and out, I think Ayat's coming in the game.
Whoa, that's a hot take.
That is a hot take. I hadn't really considered that. I was assuming we'd only see Ayat if McDowell's like literally throwing balls in the dirt.
I think Bobby's going to keep a short leash on him.
Huh.
He's done that a couple times this year with the short leash with Ayat or something else. But
frankly, I'd rather deal with Ayat.
Yeah, I don't know what we'll see in those first couple drives, but I'm curious to see what the scripted drives for them look like, and if they do fall behind early again, what that looks like. Because I think that'll be in the back of minds of the Grizz fans that, oh no, these guys have whooped us, and this game's gotten out of control the last 2 of 3 times very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. But you're talking about 2 quarterbacks that neither of them have played a second in a Cat Griz game. Is Ayat a true freshman?
He is.
So both of them have never even played in any Cat Griz game at all, period.
Yep.
So they're both brand new to the Grizz football team, and they're both brand new to the rivalry. I've seen a lot of talk about how the Malott and Chambers haven't started in Missoula, but they're both 1-0 as starters or as contributors in the rivalry. I think that's a big advantage, even if it's not Missoula. I think your first like real action in Cat Griz is going to be tough, even if it's at home.
Yeah, I don't think they're, even though it's a home crowd, I think they're going to walk out there and be like, whoa, this is different.
Well, yeah, there'll be some hostility in that crowd that's not normally there, because there's going to be a few thousand Bobcat fans screaming at him. I don't know. I think McDowell gets more snaps.
Yeah, I would lean with that. I also think for the Cats, that's the bigger question for me. I kind of think Sean Chambers is the secret sauce to all of our winnings.
I think you're thinking wishful thinking that he's going to get more snaps than Tommy, though.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yes, I agree. He's so stinking good when he's in, though. Like, he is. I don't know why we don't play him, because when he's in, his production is off the charts.
He won Offensive Player of the Week with 8 snaps.
Yeah, nine touches or something like that.
9 snaps. He won
5 touchdowns on 9 touches.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of why he is so formidable, though. He's kind of like the NBA player who can come off the bench and drain a bunch of threes. It's harder to do that consistently when you're starting. It's easy to come off the bench and get hot. I think that kind of works.
Yeah. He was less predictable in the Eastern game. I'll give him that, because the one where he threw to Cleveland, the touchdown, everybody around me was like, run, and then he drops back and throws them. We're like, oh, okay. And then he comes in again on his 2 big pass plays, and it's like, okay, run, and he drops back and drops beautiful passes there. So maybe he's getting a little less predictable, but I mean, we'll see.
I just know that the chili mixed well last week, so I could see a similar mix. Though I worry about him not getting hardly any touches, because I think the Cats won't get as many plays due to the nature of the game. It'll be more kind of the Idaho style. I hope we get more snaps than we did at Idaho. But it seems to be the less snaps we have, the more Tommy we see. We got to make sure Chambers gets his plays in. He needs 10's kind of a good number, I think.
I don't know if Montana can grind out the drives like Idaho could, though.
That's not what they do, but that might be what they do against us. We're having a hard time getting off the field. Eastern, we got off the field, so that was good. But I still have nightmares about Idaho.
Yeah, do they have the running attack to kind of grind out those 3rd and shorts.
Yeah, I know they're going to get into 3rd and 4, and McDowell's going to rush for 6 yards on a scramble, and that's going to happen. My nightmare is it happens all game long. McDowell for 6, McDowell for 10. He ends up with 70 yards and on 8 rushes, and 6 of those are for first downs, on 3rd down conversions.
I'm also curious to see how our secondary holds up.
Thorny's already in a bad spot.
No, I'm just telling you my nightmare.
He's just mentally preparing.
Just the worst thing I can possibly think of in my head.
He's doing hand gestures over there.
I'm animated. I'm also still watching the Bobcat basketball game. Look at me, multitasking. 35-28 Cats over Cal. No big deal.
It's like Charlie Day and the thing with the big billboard and you can find it with all the scenarios.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Pepe Sylvia. There is no
right.
Pepe Sylvia.
Let's see. Ooh, big one from Joe Bobcat. I'm not going to read the paragraph down below. I'm not a big fan of reading paragraphs in general. Oh, my word. Where we
Words
go?
are hard.
Yes, for me, sometimes they are. Let's hope and assume the Cats win this week and end up seated at both UNI and UNEP and UM. So we have home field against either of them. Should we be on the same side of the bracket? Which of those two would you prefer to see in a quarterfinal or semifinal game in Bobcat Stadium?
In Bobcat Stadium? Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Zach?
I know. I think you still get that big Griz contingent, and it still makes for the headline, and there's still that stuff there, and it's more fresh. I think you come back with Idaho, you have a chip on your shoulder. I don't think they can do that to us again with the right prep. I mean, that's the only way they can beat us.
Yes.
And I think, also looking back at that game too, we came off the SAC game. They came off a bye. And so if you just look, we came off 2 back-to-back road trips against top 10 teams. And they had 2 weeks to sit at home and kind of get ready for us and game plan that out. So they also got kind of lucky in that game too. I don't think they could come into Bobcat Stadium and do the same thing. I think the noise level is going to be different. I think the outdoor elements will be way different and harder to do that too. I'd rather see Idaho. That being said, if we win this game, I'd have to guess they maybe put Montana and Idaho on the South Dakota State side. I'm not sure. Based off last year when they put us and SAC on different sides of the bracket, and then South Dakota State and North Dakota State on different sides of the bracket, but then bracket math makes no sense. So
yeah, it's pretty.
I'm trying to make logic out of nothing, because then again we drew Weber and everybody was like, "Oh God, not Weber again."
If it's a close game, I could see the Griz falling to the 5 seed, which would put them on SDSU side.
Do you think either team jumps Furman?
I think the Griz do. I don't know if we do.
Yeah. I think
we should.
The FCS versus FBS loss, I don't know if they even take that into account, because both their losses came early season, but
yeah, I don't know. I hope not. I don't think that the a Southland team or a Southern Conference team should ever be ahead of the outright conference champion of the Big Sky Conference.
I think William and Mary learned that last year.
Yeah. Yeah, and the CAA is generally a better conference than the Southland.
Yep.
It was Idaho our NAU moment.
Kinda, I think so. I think it helped refocus the offense.
I think there's a good chance we look back at that game and say, without that game, maybe at the end of the year we don't win a national championship or go to a national championship.
Ew, that's the kind of positive energy I like to see.
God, we were so down after that game. The text stream was so bad.
It's funny. Shay Richter asked us if Brendan Hall would end up potentially costing us a trip to the national championship. In a weird roundabout way, if that came to fruition, Brendan Hall missing would have propelled us to a national championship. If the loss at Idaho truly is what kickstarted us and we go on a run and that's the seeding works out and whatever, we win a national championship, I guess you look at it that way.
I was so happy that dude won Player of the Week.
I felt good. I was happy.
That made me feel really good. I mean, his punting ability is just incredible what he can do.
His kickoff, his scholarship, his kickoff through the end zone is worth a scholarship. You don't ever have to hardly worry about a return to kickoff.
It's also seeing the team.
And we score a lot of touchdowns, man.
Yeah, when the team comes off the field with him, when he punts and kicks, just seeing like how he's received, it's awesome.
Good. Good to know. Those are things you can get from that first person account that we have with you, which we don't get over here on ESPN Plus.
Every game this year.
Nice.
So Joe Bobcat had a second question. What then is the flip side of that coin is if we lose and we have to travel to one of those spots, which one would you rather travel to?
And it's Idaho, Montana?
Yeah.
Idaho.
Yeah, I think Idaho.
Because I think we can get revenge in Idaho and send their fans back to Pullman.
All right. So I've been waiting to ask you guys this. I listened to Sam Herder today on Coulter's show, and he predicted if the Cats lose, the Cats get the 7 seed, the Griz get the 2 seed. That's a quarterfinal matchup. That would be back-to-back Cat Griz games.
I think there's a decent chance if the Cats lose, we'll be in potential headed back to Missoula.
Don't we have to play a game in between?
Yeah, we would. I mean, that would be a semifinal showdown. So we would have
that would be a quarterfinal showdown.
Yeah, that would be quarterfinals, but we'd have to play somebody in between. We'd have to play winners of the first round games first. So they'd play 9 through 24, and then we'd play the winner of our 9 through 24 game, and then we would play the Griz if we both won.
Okay. Well, either way, not fun, but I mean, I'd rather play the Griz in a quarterfinal game than a semifinal game. Like them beating us and then going to the national championship because of it would be, you would never hear the end of it for the rest of your entire life.
That'd be tough.
But then if you had the winning side of that, you'd be able to gloat about that for the rest of your entire life. It's just high stakes. I just don't want to play the Griz in the playoffs, period. I don't like either. The pressure of that. Either way, in any round, it's just not. I don't like it when it happens in basketball in the Big Sky tournament. I think we all remember, maybe not you, Zach. We remember
probably a little young.
The 2002 team that won like the Big Sky Conference Championship with Mick Durham, men's team, beat the Griz twice, and then the Griz knocked us out in the first round of like the tournament. It doesn't matter anymore. Yeah. Everything that happened before that doesn't matter. They knocked us out of the tournament. That's all that matters. So I don't want that to happen in football either. Well, even if we beat the Griz and somehow they knock us out of the playoffs again, if we somehow end up.
Sam Herder was talking about how they have to vote on these things or the seedings for the playoff, in that they can't change them because some people have been saying, they're not going to put Montana State pitted against Montana. They just wouldn't do that because they want the revenue from the tickets, from the sales. And Sam was like, not necessarily. If they get voted into these slots, they're going to stay there. I believe him. I believe Sam knows what he's talking about, but I also don't believe that it's not just set in stone. Like closed doors are going to be like, no, we're not going to do this. Like our cash cows are Montana State. We're going to make sure those guys are getting their tickets. So I don't know.
You always hear about, they don't want to have North Dakota State and South Dakota State play in the, they want to have them meet in the national championship or whatever. That was kind of people's conspiracy theories about last year when we didn't get seeded properly.
I still thought we should have been the 3rd seed.
We should have been. But everyone's like, they just want the Bison Jackrabbit showdown in Frisco. So
they got it.
They got it. You just wonder if that doesn't influence. Sam says it doesn't. Kent, of course, is going to say it doesn't. I don't know if it does or not. Not sure I buy that it doesn't. Maybe that's my one. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I might buy into that one a little bit.
All right. Let's see. Let's pop down to another coolie question. This one from CNC Cat. Can't really take credit for it, but a new nickname suggestion for Brendan Hall after his extraordinary kickoff and punting performances is the Boot, perhaps Das Boot. I think we talked about this. It just sticks for me. Sticks Hall. And then he said, give a shout out to MSU volleyball for one of the best seasons in recent memory, and specifically the reverse sweep of Weber State, and also men's cross country for making the NCAA nationals for the 2nd year in a row. Top 25 program anywhere in the nation. Absolutely.
Athletic department's rolling.
Yeah.
Yep. Still having a good year. Everything is elevated right now.
Decade
man. And that reminded me, I just went to check in. The Cats beat Sac State in volleyball just tonight.
Nice.
Oh, really?
Zach was number one.
Yeah, Sac's always like one of the best teams in the league. I didn't know they were number one, but yeah, they beat them in 5 sets.
That's awesome.
So there you go.
They swept us earlier in the year, too.
Woo! Let's go.
And the Cats are up 44-32 now against Cal.
Big ACC tilt.
Brandon Walker, 23 points, 11 of 17 shooting.
Wow.
Not bad.
Wait, did you say Cal's in the ACC now?
Yeah, they're
be.
in the Pac-12, but they will be in the ACC.
Oh,
nobody's in the Pac-12 anymore except for Oregon State and Washington State.
The Cougies.
And they may have won their lawsuit and they might merge with the Mountain West Conference now. All sorts of stuff happening. But that's for another time.
God, could you imagine if we didn't have a schedule next year? How bad we'd be freaking out that we just didn't have a football schedule.
It'd be weird.
That'd be very weird. It's like, I can't wait to plot our games out for next year.
I mean, I'd be pretty. Athletic directors like, whoa, bad job there.
Renew your season tickets for. We'll figure it out.
All right. Here's a question from Roger Fisher. Last year, it was unstoppable force for the Cats rushing attack against the immovable object, the Griz rushing defense. We all know how that went. Will it be the same this year or different?
I mean, we've been hearing that for years.
Depends on who you listen to, Roger. There's certain people who say Montana's defense is doing different things. If you listen to Coach Vegan on Monday, he said pretty much they look the same, a little bit of difference. If you listen to some other people in the media, they're going to tell you a whole different story.
I mean, if no matter how you want to slice it, they're definitely still like the top rushing defense in the league, and they have been almost every year, right? Since Houck got there, almost every year they've been top.
Yeah,
they were in 2019. I'm pretty sure they were last year. They don't finish top usually because they play us at the last game of the season.
I think we're going to have to use our tight ends quite a bit in this game, quite frankly. I think if Pickering doesn't play, I think that's more than a massive blow for us. With the way they blitz and they leave the middle of the field open quite a bit, I think we're going to need Lonergan and Pickering to both play and catch multiple balls across the middle on third downs.
I wish we had Snell in this one.
Yeah, that one's going to be rough.
Just for his blocking.
Yeah, the things he did last year in the brawl, were remarkable.
He was just putting people on their behinds left and right. He's so vicious. He's such a vicious blocker.
Do you know anything on that, Zach, that we don't?
I don't think so. I think he plays. I think Pickering plays, but I think if he doesn't play, it's a massive blow. I think that's the player that we need back.
I think Lonergan's doing great, man. He's had some great catches. I think he's had
a fantastic couple games. Even in the Idaho game, I thought he played okay, even though he got some flack.
But the Griz, all I know is they have a good rush defense every year. They have not once stopped the truly committed version of the Cats to the QB run game. The only time they did is when we brought in a quarterback and tried to do something a little bit different, tried to be like a little bit more of a traditional offense, and that just ended up not working out. But they have not stopped any of the running quarterbacks that we've thrown at them since Jeff Choate took over and Chris Murray played in 2016.
Oh, yeah. I mean, since that game, besides the 2021 game, the plan's been run the ball down their throat and try to make them stop us. And the only time they've done that is the first half of 2018 and then most of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the only times that we had bad quarters or bad halves. And those were, we also shot ourselves in the foot with a blocked field goal in the first play of the game going for 75 yards in 2021. So I just think we got to stay calm, composed, and just march down the field, have nice run drives, and just, again, run the ball.
I feel the Cats can run for what they need to run for, 250, 300. Will they? Yep. I don't know. I just feel like it's not a guarantee that we're going to get shut down by any stretch. I think we can do higher than we did against some of the other teams we've performed against this year. I don't see why we can't.
Yeah. I hope you guys asked a couple weeks ago, are we peaking? Like, is this the peak, or are we better than we were at the beginning of the year? And I think we're going to see I think we're going to see the peak begin to, I thought we saw with Eastern, but I think we're going to see the peak this weekend.
I feel like it's shifted.
I think that argument shifted.
Yeah, I had a different opinion 2 weeks ago after Eastern and most of NAU. I'm like, all right, I feel like we're now on that trajectory that I want us to see us on. And Vegan said as much in like the presser on Monday.
Yeah.
But to answer one more last question about versus last year, or even the last few years, I think it matters that Robbie Houck isn't on that defense. I think he was really good for most of the stuff they wanted to do. He was really bad in the run support against the offense we would throw at him.
Yeah. He wasn't gap sound either. He wasn't disciplined.
No, he took terrible angles and was too aggressive and missed the gap and got touchdowns, ran where he should have been.
But he got the tackle record, and that's all that matters.
I think that the Grizz defense is actually better as a whole.
Yeah,
because of that.
So that's what Grizz fans are saying is, hey, we had that guy. He was out of place for a lot of times, and now we're more gap sound. There you go.
And I think their cornerbacks are actually doing a really good job in coverage, which helps them focus even more on the rest of the squad stopping the run game. So I do think they're a little bit better. Is it enough? I don't know. We'll see.
I think we can hit some big plays down the field. They're going to be
Ty McCullough has me happy.
Yeah, I think we're going to be able to attack the middle of the field. Now, are we going to be able to do like a play action boot? I don't know if we'll have that much time if they're sending the house on us. But I think the middle of the field is going to be open.
That little pop pass thing we did to Scotchery.
Oh, that was awesome. I love that.
I love that play.
When we ran that in the national championship at the very beginning, I was like, okay, it's on. And then it was very, very quickly off. But that was the moment when that went for 20 yards. I was like, hey, here we go.
And then Tommy got hurt, and then the drive stalled out, and then we did the worst fake punt or fake field goal you ever see, and then the game just was over.
And then we were all in the parking lot for 4 hours afterwards.
And I had fun still.
It was a great time.
Went to a sweet steakhouse that night. That was pretty good.
Lenny on Twitter asks us, do you think Cat Griz will ever be at night?
That'd be awesome.
That'd be cool.
It'd be cool? I don't know, man.
Qualifier. If it's at night, I would want to put it like mid-October.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's always going to be mid-November. It's always going to be freezing cold. And do you want Cat Griz at night when everyone's been day drinking all damn day long? I don't know about that.
Yeah, by night, not 7:30, but 5 o'clock kick.
True.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, starts, and then the lights have to turn on at like halftime or something.
Yeah.
None of that like 7 p.m. kickoff for ESPN stuff. So if it's at night, like 5 o'clock, I could see it. I think that'd be okay.
SEC does this all the time. A lot of their games are at night. Huge matchups at night. It's good. You could drink all day if you want to. I'm not like here trying to say go do that. That's not my message. I'm just saying your point, Thorny, is it's taken, but I don't think there'd be a consideration.
I don't know. There's lots of messaging about being nice to each other this year for some reason. I don't
48 degrees on Saturday.
I don't think adding 10 hours of drinking was going to help that.
Partly sunny, 48 degrees. That's the nicest day, and the 10-day looks like in Missoula. So
there we go.
I mean, it was 55 in clear skies here today. Surprising. So
what?
Yeah.
Oh, nice, man.
I wore shorts to class the other day. It was fantastic.
Dangerous.
I know.
All right. Any other questions on Bobcat Nation?
Yeah, we got one more.
We haven't really talked about the game yet.
No.
Let's see.
Questions.
I don't get this, but I think you guys who are on social media might. It says this is from BF Cat fan. Is Bud Light Bobby's beer of choice?
I'm not going to tackle that one.
I don't know what his beer of choice would be.
I don't get it.
I know why he asked about Bud Light. I don't really want to.
You don't want to go there
in this podcast.
Okay. All right.
We already talked. We went through and asked. Didn't we answer that a couple years ago? What we thought each. Or no, we asked if they were a beer. Right? You and I did that exercise a couple years ago, Foley, where we're like, if Jeff Choate was a beer, what kind of beer would he be? So it's
I remember a few years ago, there was a Cooley question about what finishing WWE move you'd do on Bobby before the brawl.
I'd go off the top ropes. Luchadero style.
No people's elbow?
No.
Some Diamond Dallas Page action?
No, Rey Mysterio.
I don't know. Not much of a wrestling fan. Okay.
What would you do, Zach?
Ooh.
What would your finishing move be? To Bobby Hauck.
Top rope belly flop would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Just a full-on dolphin dive.
I could see Thorny bringing like the steel chair, the folded up chair.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
The chair. Or throw him over the ropes onto a table. It's always classic.
And a blue and gold leotard just coming out of nowhere.
I definitely enjoy like some prop action of some kind, so there's got to be something involved in it for sure. Or maybe like you knock him out and then you put like Champ's head on him in the corner.
Nice. That would be fun.
Oh, goodness. That's great.
Dusty Batters on Twitter asks us, how much of a factor will playing in Washington Grizzly play? Do you think we'll see something like we did at South Dakota State with all the false starts? And he has a second part of his question, but let's tackle that first part right now.
I think it's going to play a huge part. I mentioned yesterday, episode before, I think it's a ginormous part, as much as Coach Hauck, in my opinion. That stadium is absolutely legit atmosphere. But to the second part of his question, it sounds like Coach Vegan mentioned in a presser that they got that cleared up. Whatever it was, the communication they were trying to do during that South Dakota State game that caused all those false starts, seemed to have figured that out.
Well, what was it, NAU, where we still had some procedural garbage, right?
Oh, gosh, when they marched down the field and scored on us, and we just had like penalty after penalty that we aided them on.
I'm talking offensively.
Yeah. I think that was a defensive drive, but that was disgusting.
I'm not so concerned about the defensive drives. I am worried about, like, if the Grizz gets you off your rhythm, if it's 1st and 10 and then all of a sudden it's 1st and 15, that's a huge difference. So that makes me nervous. If they come out
first 3 plays and hit a haymaker like they did in 2021, it's going to be hard for the Cats.
I think they'll probably try it too.
They always do. It's going to be a frenzy. So
try and get that momentum instantly.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think it plays a factor. It's big. It's a big thing. But I think the Cats, more than any team that they'll face this year in Missoula, can weather it.
Yep.
Even if it gets rolling a little bit.
We've proven to do it.
Yeah, we've proven. Even if it gets rolling a little bit, the Cats aren't going to panic and abandon their game plan.
It's just so fun. Several of the people have said it, just watching our sideline. Just watching the coaches, even when we're down or things don't go our way. Just watching how they're acting and watching kind of how the players are acting and stuff. And nobody's really down. They're just like, hey, how do we fix this? Getting together and, dealing with it. And we've kind of faced that adversity twice. And even in the games we lost, we got really close and times that things could have gone even way worse.
So I don't think we'll see anything like SDSU to actually answer the second part of that question.
Do you guys think this is a high scoring game?
No.
I think the Cats can hang 40 on anybody in the world.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Will they?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, we don't put scores out here, Zach, so don't you dare give a prediction on this podcast, okay? I'm banning you right now. But I can see something in like the 30s, mid-30s to somebody else in the high 20s. So a total of like, 60 points seems like a good 62 and a half, somewhere in that. I don't know what the official over and under is, but like 65, somewhere there seems right to me.
I don't see us being held under 20 points.
No.
I think I'd be truly shocked if we get held by under 20 points.
Yeah.
Was last week the best the 2 QB system has looked?
Yes.
He says if the Cats can replicate that, the Grizzlies will have a tough time. So that's the second part of Dusty's question on Twitter.
Yes, because it's the most unpredictable we've looked.
Yeah.
Agreed. We finally saw all the elements of like just the Chambers game against Weber State. We just saw all the elements of everything that's worked all year seemed to be like put together in one glorious game plan against Eastern Washington, and Eastern was lost. They didn't know what was coming.
Yep.
They were swimming, man. They were backpedaling. They had no idea what was going to happen. That's why you end up with Tamakola with nobody within 20 yards of him in any direction.
I was on that end zone, that kind of the student section end zone, and both their first 2 passes that they caught for big gains down the field, oh man, they were so close to being picked. Like, I don't think the cameras did justice with how close those were to be picked too. So even from the start of the game, it's like, oh, they caught those, but boy, we were right there. So it just kind of felt from even those plays that we were there, we were locked in.
I feel like it's the defense all year though. The last few games, we're right there, but we're not making the play. We finally did against Eastern. We finally forced 3 turnovers, but it just seems to be that's what concerns me. We're going to be right there, but not enough to get off the field.
Did we force 2 turnovers last year? We had the fumble at the goal line, and then we had I think Ort had the pick, which both set up for points.
I think so. I think Ort did have a pick. That sounds about right.
Yeah. So we'll see who wins the turnover battle.
I don't know if that's going to necessarily dictate who wins, but
yeah,
important. Absolutely important.
Danny, you back?
I think so.
I hope so.
I don't know if he'll go a bunch of reps. Maybe they'll try him and see how it goes. But I don't know.
What's your first play? If you're Taylor Houseright.
I'm running that Scottree screen. I'm seeing if they blitz the house and seeing if I can run a little something over the top.
I don't know. Probably just Julius Davis zone run to the left side. I don't know why the left, because why not?
I think he runs better to the right. Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say
right
Julius
side.
Davis, and just get some contact. Just get the first play done.
Yeah. I don't want to take any shots until we've kind of felt it out a little bit, but you don't want to end up like any. But what I'm trying to say here, it's like you just don't want to end up like you did to Idaho. Whatever way it ends up, you don't want to go 2-3 now to start the game. So you don't want to get too cute. And even if they're running, if they stuff it 3 times in a row running the ball in the first series, I think you're okay with that and you punt the ball. That's what happened at Weber.
I'm curious if they lock up Tommy's RPO decisions. That's something that I think they locked up in the second half against Idaho quite a bit, where he was given that kind of freedom to make those decisions early in that game that cost us when we threw the ball deep on that first drive.
Yeah, that's one of the few times that Tommy wasn't making the best decisions in the RPO game, was that first half in Idaho, because Idaho was confusing them. They were doing good stuff. So, I think the Griz have to be taking a good hard look at what was confusing Tommy.
But I still can't believe they lost.
Maybe they just take away the decisions from Tommy a little bit.
Yeah. What a confusing season that they lose to Weber. We beat them by 40, and then they lose to the Griz.
It's just some parity, man. Everyone thought everyone thought it was South Dakota State and the Cats for a long time, and then it turned out, no, not really. It turned out the Big Sky is just kind of everyone's punching each other a little bit. We're the only team that hasn't lost a bad loss, though. Idaho has a bad loss. The Griz have a bad loss. We don't. And even if we lose to the Griz, we're still not going to have a bad loss unless we lose by like 60. But it'll be against a top 3 team on the road. Not an unranked non-playoff team like the Griz and Idaho both have on the resume now.
Does Chris Ball survive this season?
Probably.
Yeah.
You think he did enough?
Yes.
Ugh.
I think the expectations are that bad in Flagstaff. He beat the Griz. That's probably enough to keep his job. Probably not.
I still think it's funny how everybody's being super nice. Like, we're supposed to be super nice to the Griz, but the Idaho State fans, there might be some brawls in the stands with the way they're talking on Twitter to each other.
Man,
they're just going scorched earth with the domes.
Watching the Jungle podcast Twitter account, or the not the podcast, the Jungle account, whatever that is, which is the Idaho State fan account, which is hilarious. Whoever run that account is so funny. And then Brian Marceau and Tubbs of the Club they're sitting there arguing about whose dome is better. I was like, why am I seeing this on my timeline? Newsflash, both your domes suck.
It turns out.
Domes.
It's like arguing whose mid-90s Honda is better.
My favorite was Idaho State fans like, I've seen better aircraft hangars than your dome.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's good. That's really good.
Okay.
Hey, Zach, after the game, did they play Moni Moni? Did they pump up the crowd coming out of Bobcat Nation?
I don't remember that. I don't remember that for the Eastern game. I don't think so.
All right. There's some
Man.
little things I think Montana State should do. Like, that would have been good timing. Also, like, I was thinking, like, Coach Fegan should just, like, because the Grizz had a late game on Saturday. He should have gathered the whole team. MSU should have, catered ribbon chop, get the whole team into the big the BAC and watch the Grizz game. All the red shirts, all the guys that are hurt, the players, everybody in there catered. Just kick off the Cat Griz game or Cat Griz week. I know that didn't happen, but that's some little stuff that could happen. That there's something there.
That's what you would do if you're coach.
Yeah. You set the tone right away, and you tell your players you matter, and it's Cat Griz week. Get those guys together, feed them after the big win, sit down and watch the Grizz game together.
I hate when they say, like, when you get the stereotypical answer, it's just another game, or we look at it just like any other team. It's not. And if you look at it like just another game or just another team or just, it's just the next one on schedule, you're going to have a 2021 situation. I think you need some of that intensity of, we don't like these guys. This is what it's about.
Yeah.
We don't
like, I liked it in the Miracle Missoula documentary when they talked about the difference between Rob Ash and Jeff Choate, where it was Rob Ash, talked about how it was not FTG, it was BTG a little bit. And, it was a little too nice on that. And then Choate comes in. It's like, we're going to beat those guys. We're going to beat them every year. You're going to make a difference here. I think you need some of that incivility of thoughts of this. If you treat this game like just another game, it's not. And that's a massive mistake if you do.
Well, that's what I think I like so much about Vegan, because I think Choate put a little too much emphasis on it. And that's why he would lose to Idaho State in the middle of the season. His teams weren't consistent enough because they were too emotional and they were put too much on the line for that kind of stuff. And I think a little bit too much ahead to Cat Griz. I don't know, but he went 4-0 in that game. He's a legend because of it. But I think Vegan's a nice combination.
Yep.
Putting the right amount of importance on it, but also, hey, we got to win all the other games. So, I don't know. We're in a good spot. And Vegan learned his lesson, I think, last year. So I think it's going to be a good rematch. I'm sorry, 2 years ago. That was his first Cat Griz, man. If you look back at the history of the rivalry, I think Jeff Choate is the only first-time head coach to win the Brawl the Wild game.
Really?
Because Pflugrad came in and lost. Stitt came in. Stitt might have won his first one. It's not very common.
I think Stitt won his first one. We were pretty bad those years.
McDelaney lost his first one, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's just, it's pretty easy to lose that first game because you don't really know what you're getting in until you get there.
Yep.
And Vegan was kind of that way, and we're not that same team, man. So that's what I have confidence that Washington Grizzlies Stadium isn't going to steamroll the Cats. If the Cats lose, it'll be because of other factors, I think, besides the moment being too big or Washington Grizzlies Stadium being too loud.
Even though we lost both games, I think it does help us that we played those two high-profile road games. 3 when you count Sac State with...
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, you lost them, but you only lost them by a combined 7 points. And just going on the road, playing in that hostile environment and showing up and playing semi-decent, I think it brings that experience of, hey, we've been here before. Even this season, we know how to play against these teams.
When do you think we look the best? This is for Zach.
So, we scored 41 points in 15 minutes against Eastern.
That's crazy.
Remember when me and you talked about somebody scored 42 points against Idaho State in one quarter?
Yeah.
So from the first quarter, 7 minutes to go to 8 minutes to go in the second quarter, we scored 41 points.
That's absurd.
That's insane.
It doesn't even feel real.
Yeah.
It seems impossible.
That was, I remember I looked up, because I remember looking at around the 8 minute mark. I'm like, half the quarter's gone and nobody scored. I was like, we could be in for a dogfight. And then we just started rolling. And I looked up, I was like, that was only 15 minutes ago. We're only halfway through this quarter.
Yeah.
But
I thought we looked really good. I thought we looked really good at South Dakota State, except for the penalties.
And this for the second half wasn't as stellar, but
I feel like the Cats started really well and then maybe like, I don't know, not dipped, but just flatlined a little bit. And then we hit Idaho. Now I feel like we're climbing out of it.
Yep.
We had a lull in scheduling for a while there in October until we hit those Sac and Idaho games.
Yeah, just look
like
at it.
We had just the longest lull of we won every home game this year by double digits.
Doesn't help when you have Stetson and then you go on the road, beat Weber. That was an awesome moment. And come back, Portland State. And that was like kind of a weird game because we didn't like absolutely just wax Portland State like we thought we all would. And then we have an open, play Cal Poly. That's a good win at Sac State. Then we got beat at Idaho. So it's just like this, yeah. Idaho, and then they're like backs against the wall. Northern Arizona kicked ass, crushed Eastern. Now we got to crush Montana.
Well, we do need to beat Montana because really our resume is not very good.
We've beat a bunch of bad teams.
We've beat a bunch of bad teams. I think the only team we beat with a winning record is Sac.
Yeah,
which is kind of sad to think about.
I thought Utah Tech would be better. I thought they'd win a couple games. I mean, they beat NAU, but
we all thought Weber was going to be good, and we smoked them. We all felt really good about that win, and then it turns out that was not a good win at all.
Is it false confidence to think we can go play with anybody?
I don't think so.
I don't think so, because it's like, we haven't really beat anybody, but it's like we have trounced teams.
We've been trouncing who has been put in front of us, so we've had a hard
beat who we should have beat. If that's
our strength of schedule is like top 10 according to like Massey, but the resume is not great when you compare it to some of the other teams. Like, not a lot of ranked wins, not a lot of good wins.
Oh, you can only play who you're going to play, right?
That's what Furman's saying.
Yeah,
that's exactly what Furman's saying right now.
But if we beat Idaho, and we were close to beating Idaho, even playing like dog crap,
terrible.
What are we saying right now?
Well,
Montana State's number 2 team in the nation.
Yep.
Well, we're
dominant
saying,
Montana State. We had a little hiccup at a resilient Montana State at Idaho. We're 2-3 plays away from being Idaho.
We're also saying we're Big Sky champs, regardless of what happens on Saturday.
Yeah.
We would have locked it up with the win over Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
At least a share.
Or if Cleveland Thomas catches that ball in the back of the end zone against South Dakota State. I mean, they've looked so dominant, but I have to still remind myself that we were an inch away from winning that game.
Yeah.
No, it's still crazy to think about it.
We're like 5 inches away from being undefeated.
I think 2.
And what I say is the interception.
I think it's 2.
Rylan Ort is so close to intercepting the last touchdown pass against Idaho.
I think if he just gets a finger on it, that was third. That was third. And
it was 19. Third down, so the game's not over. I'm saying if he was 3 inches, 4 inches, it's an interception. So it's still like, we're talking inches away from potentially being undefeated.
If Taco Dowler doesn't let that ball go off his face mask,
face mask. Oh,
I mean that touchdown changes the whole game.
Yeah,
because when we come out instead of 10-7, it's 14-10 right out of the gate in the second half. So it was a brutal one. That was a deflating drop.
Yeah, to say the least, right? Ooh, the Cats went on a little spurt right there, 57-51.
Yep, I'm still watching it. Cal got within like 2 points, and somebody just hit a 3-pointer. I think it was
Tyler Patterson.
It was Leck-a-lot, I think.
Leck-a-lot. Sam?
Yeah, he's 2 for 4 from downtown, but that's all he's done. He's got 6 points.
All right.
Walker's up to 26 points. All right. Yeah, let's do you want to start? Do you have any more Golden Coolie questions?
I don't have any more Golden Coolie questions.
So I want to ask you each this question. What is the single most important matchup that you can think of?
I think it's our defensive line against their running backs on those third and fours.
So just you're just thinking kind of like a third down.
Yeah, I think honestly,
defense.
I don't have too many problems. I think our offense is going to get their points. I think it's those getting off the field on third down. I think is the most important part of this game. Not letting them extend drives with like McDowell's scampering for 6 yards or Osmo going up the middle and just breaking through for 12 on a 3rd and 6 where we think we have them.
Yeah, I would like do a little bit of a tangent on that. I think it's us versus McDowell. I think we have to make him feel this is big time football. To me, I look at what he's done. Am I the only one who's not like just super impressed by the guy? Like, I think he's a decent quarterback. Is he Tommy Mellott or Sean Chambers? I don't think so. Like, he's a good quarterback, but look who's the Griz have beat. Northern Colorado, Sac State, Portland State. Okay, they won at Idaho, but they had like 40 yards after the third quarter or after halftime.
No, they got a better resume than we do. They got better wins than we do.
Yep.
They got that loss that really drags them down. But no, I think
McDowell's
a good quarterback, man. I really
think
do.
he is a good quarterback. Is he a world beater? No. We need to make him feel uncomfortable.
I'm not sure he needs to be, though. He doesn't need to have 4 touchdowns and 200 yards of offense.
Okay.
He needs to manage the game. He's like a game manager type guy.
Yep.
All right.
Do you think he's better than Lucas Johnson last year? Well, obviously Lucas Johnson had a terrible game, but do you think he's a better overall quarterback than Lucas Johnson?
No.
I say he is, just because he's more mobile.
It's pretty even, I think.
Yeah.
He's proven himself to be very durable, and he's extremely hard to tackle.
Yeah.
He stiff arms defensive backs like they're flies.
Which we've always had problems with arm tackling this year, especially on the outside. When guys get to the outside, suck at arm tackling.
There you go. That's gonna be a big determining factor. Who tackles better?
Yeah, I think that's kind of my biggest. I was gonna say matchup because I wanted like defensive line versus this or something, but I think the biggest single thing is if the Cats can tackle, they'll be fine.
Yep.
Because Gilman is hard to bring down. Eli Gilman, I was pretty impressed with him. I hadn't watched a ton of Griz stuff, but I sat down and watched a little bit of film yesterday, and Eli Gilman's a good running back. He's slippery. He breaks through arm tackles. He's hard to bring down. McDowell's a big guy. He's hard to bring down. They got 2 guys that are hard to tackle, and our tackling hasn't been fantastic. And then, of course, you throw in guys like Junior Bergen who can break tackles and stuff, and I don't know. We've had a little hard time tackling.
Do we still have the same amount of rushing attempts, both teams, and we have double the yards?
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
That's an insane stat.
So a stat, too, that's interesting is the Griz have the least amount of rushes against in the Big Sky and the 6th least in the country.
That's wild.
Teams don't run against the Griz. Now, it could take away what you want from that. Maybe they just got shut down and they went away from it. Maybe, who knows why they're doing it. Maybe they got behind and they started throwing to try and catch up against the Griz. But it's kind of crazy. Teams don't run a bunch. But I watched the entirety of the Sac State game. Sac State was moving the ball. They were running the ball on them. They had a hard time finishing drives, and they had some questionable play calling, and they brought in that switched out quarterbacks, which doesn't work as well for them as it does for us. But they had some success running the ball. I think you can run on the Griz. You might not be busting out 70-yard touchdown runs like we have, but I don't know. I think we can run on them.
I think we can too. I've been thinking about this all week. Is this a top 10 game of all time for us?
Yeah, I mean, if we win this game, it will be one of the best wins ever as being a Bobcat fan in my Bobcat fandom.
Yeah, I would agree.
When's the last time we won a outright conference title?
I mean, I don't know. You'd have to go back to the
long
McGee
time.
area to have a potential of that.
I think technically 2011, but Montana had to vacate their title, so
still counts
by technicality. 10 years because they vacated.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but that'd be huge. In the expanded Big Sky, I just don't think banners are as important for the national landscape. They're great to have hanging in the brick. It's great to celebrate them. It's great to get the rings. They're still important, but they just don't really matter so much. And like, you can still win a national championship if you get a conference championship. Or we got the higher, like we went further than anybody else in 2021, and we didn't win the conference. We weren't the highest seed.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's just not as important now that the conference is split the way it is. You don't play everybody.
I find myself looking ahead because I just love playoff football that much. And so I'm like, oh, let's just get past Cat Griz. Whatever happens. We're in the playoffs. But I'm like, no, stay present. But to me, like, I guess that's if a fan's listening to me, I kind of, I waffle back and forth on other things. I'm like, I love playoff football. It's being the Grizz amazing. Absolutely. Is it going to define the season for the Cats? It doesn't have to. It could, but it doesn't have to.
It's just it's just so weird that it doesn't have to define the season.
Yeah.
That's a wild statement to make, but it's true because it didn't in 2021 at all.
No, I think the narrative is worse if both teams are going into this game at 6-4 and the winner goes to playoffs and the loser stays at home. I think those are worse, like bigger stakes than this. Like, I don't want to be eliminated from the playoffs by the Grizz.
Oh no,
that's more bragging rights. This just knocks us down in the seeding if we lose.
Correct.
So, I mean, yes, you lose to the Grizz, bragging rights. People are pissed. Maybe you don't recover from it mentally. I don't know. There's lots of bad things here. And obviously you want to win. You always want to beat the Grizz. But I don't know. I'm not totally buying the narrative as the most important Cat Griz game ever. Maybe like the most high profile.
Yeah.
But I don't think it derails either team's ultimate goals of winning a national championship or making it back.
I did find it funny that somebody did a mock playoff of what it would look like this week with the seeding. And Montana's first round game as I think they were the 3 seed, was against the winner of somebody and North Dakota State. So they would have had to play NDSU in their first home playoff game, which I found kind of funny. That, oh God, the Giant Killers are still here. The Giants are still here, rather, not the Killers.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the Grizzlies, if they're able to stay home and benefit from Washington Grizzlies Stadium, they're really hard. But we've been fans long enough to have seen teams knock them off, like, who had no business doing that. So it's weird, man. It's weird. So we'll see what happens. But right, we're in it for it. Zach, I want to know this about you. I think I know this about you. Are you a guy that could just sit down in front of the TV and watch every play of the Cat Griz and just be like cool with whatever? You're just like, all right, I got it. You're like, because me, I'm a nervous Nelly. I'm walking around. I'm like, dusting.
I pace. I'm a pacer, so I walk around like the coffee table, or like I'm like guy behind the couch with the hands on the couch kind of guy.
Oh yeah. Yep. I know that guy.
That's kind of how my girlfriend gets mad because I text. I think that's my way of venting.
Yeah.
I'm just angry texting throughout the game, or happy texting throughout the game. She goes, "Why are you on your phone? You should be watching the game." I'm like, I'm watching the game, but I'm using my outlet.
There's plenty of downtimes in football. There's plenty of room for texting, okay?
Yeah.
Play's over. You get like 20 more seconds to throw some text. At least 20 seconds.
I'm not a sit down and have my notepad or have a drink and just calmly watch. If it's a game I don't care about, I can do that. But
yeah,
if it's a team I'm invested in, yeah, it's hard to do.
Yeah, I'm totally the guy who just like stands in front of the TV, like dad mode.
Yeah.
Just like standing in front of the TV, like nervous. I'll pace a little bit, but I'll just kind of stand in the middle of the living room, just staring at the TV when I'm nervous. I don't leave the room. I can't not watch fully. I can never be like you, where you just straight up like disconnect and you don't watch. I can't do that.
Well,
that'd be like the guy that puts his hand over his eyes and like cracks his fingers and picks his fingers. Like I gotta see.
I'm like, oh my gosh. We did it. We won. The miracle in Missoula. Scared the whole neighborhood. That was awesome.
This is a bad Cat fan of me. So that game, this is kind of outing myself totally. So I was duck hunting that day, and we got up super early before the game and went duck hunting. And then that game started, and they were getting their butts kicked in the first half. And I'm like, I totally mailed it in. I said, well, it's over. And I went upstairs to take a nap because I'm like, I'm tired. It's over.
Boo.
Yep. And my dad woke me up. He goes, we won. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, we stopped him at the goal line. And I was like, okay. So I had to rewatch it. I totally gave up.
You slept through the Miracle in Missoula. Is that what you're saying right now?
I gave up. I did not see it live. Yes, I slept through the Miracle in Missoula. I did not see it live. I'm a bad Cat fan.
Well, how do I kick somebody from this room?
Yeah,
and you're muted. That's funny. Yeah, we've all had those moments where like, yeah,
yep.
Especially against the Grizz. Like let's be honest, we've been beaten handily enough times by the Griz where you can get the sense like, nope, here we go again.
Mm.
But
doubt can creep in real quick.
Doubt can creep in, but I don't feel that way. I haven't felt that way for a few years now. Like maybe since the Miracle Missoula, that was kind of we came back from it. Like we got up off the mat for once.
Yeah.
And now we're the ones knocking them down on the mat for the most part.
Yeah.
I just think we've kicked that little brother narrative so far off the mat.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me anymore. I've seen a lot of
they
of it this year, but they can say it all they want. I don't feel like maybe there was always like a little bit of truth to it or something. Like maybe that's why
our facilities are better. We're now winning playoff games. We've made a national championship run. Like it just feels like we're there. It's like, okay, we've also won 2 conference titles in basketball. Like
it's not just football.
Yep.
It's everything. It's even the enrollment, which I don't like to use as a smack talking point, but it's the narrative that Montana State University is on a trajectory upwards. Like everything about it. Like, we're by far the biggest university now. That was not the case when you and I were in school fully. They had more students.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
I think we have like almost 7,000 more students.
Yeah.
Like so, it's a big number.
There's nothing little brother anymore. And I feel confident in saying that. I love it. I love it. It's like the best time to be a Bobcat fan since we've been Bobcat fans.
27 seconds left in this game, guys. I'm sure you're watching it.
Yeah, 61-58 Cats holding
3.
on by a thread here. They had to call a timeout trying to get the ball inbounded, I think. Or maybe Cal fouled because I don't think they're in the bonus yet. So we can do some play-by-play when people are listening to this tomorrow because it's complete. Oh, wide open dunk. Oh, that's smart. He didn't dunk. He dribbled out of it. I wanted him to dunk that. That's Godecki. Garacki. I'm thinking Kyle Kodecki used to be the offensive lineman for the Cats.
I still have no idea what to make about this basketball team.
Brian,
that's going to be fun
Garacki.
With this whole podcast in Denver because I have no idea because we have so many new guys.
I learned way more about the Cats ever when we did that one season, COVID season, where there was no football. So you and I did that was our only year we did a full basketball slate, and it was fun. Like I learned a lot about the Cats. I watched every second of it. You know, it's hard to watch every second of it as busy dads like we are. But
yeah,
it was fun. Is that Jalen Cone? That can't be Jalen Cone.
Jalen Tyson.
No, the little Cone guy for Cal. Jalen Cone played for NAU.
I think he did go to Cal.
That guy looks too big. Jalen Cone was tiny. Yeah, let's go check it out. Check it out.
Well, could Cone. Be the biggest.
Jay Cone. It is Jalen Cone.
Woo!
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, he came over from NAU because he had gone to NAU from like Virginia Tech. He's been around, man. That's funny. Small world, small fraternity. All right. Hit 2 free throws, 63-58 with 22.2 seconds left. Okay, anything else on Cat Griz here?
Yeah.
I mean,
there's just so much anticipation. I don't know what to think. We can only make so many thoughts. Yeah.
We're stalling. We're just like the nervous energy now.
I have like the sweaty palms right now of, I just want it to be kickoff. I don't want to deal with one more day.
Oh, man. Tomorrow, officially the least productive day by anyone across the country who is a fan of the rivalry. Nobody gets any work done unless you're a teacher like you are. You kind of have to do your job. But those of us with office jobs, maybe not so busy.
You gonna do some Bobcat Grizzly math questions?
I got this girl in my math class, and obviously I'm not gonna say any names. She wears Grizz gear all the time, and her and I have been at odds this week. So you got like this 40-year-old man teaching, and this 12-year-old girl just like glaring at each other, like, "Yeah, go Cats, go Grizz." You know, it is what it is. I love it. Yeah. So it's good nature, though. It's cool. All right. Yeah, I think we're going to win this game, guys.
There we go.
If we hit one more free throw, I think this is in the bag.
Yeah, he's talking about the basketball game now. Again, we don't do predictions, so Foley's not like, I think we'll beat the Griz, like casually, nonchalant like that.
Yeah.
Robert Ford's going to the free throw line with 11.1 seconds left with a 3-point lead.
Oh, he missed the first one.
He missed one.
Oh, you guys are ahead of me.
Ooh, missed 3.
Offensive rebound.
1 second.
We win?
I think they call a timeout with a
Oh
second
my
to go.
gosh. Robert
And it
Ford.
drones on.
Did the ball go off of our foot?
All right, guys, we need to finish this
Yeah.
podcast.
Okay.
Sorry, we're distracted.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
Chris, what?
Any
I don't know
final
what else
thoughts?
to say about it. Yeah. Final thoughts is, I think if the Cats stick to their identity offensively, especially, and just get some guys back on defense, I think Drew Pollard coming back, and hopefully Danny, you can come back, which will help the tackling, which will help, and the intensity too. Those are two of our more like intense, hard hitting guys that are going to get fired up. Drew Pollard gets fired up, man. He's a fierce competitor. Danny, you gets fired up. So those two back would be a huge boost. I don't know how much either one of them will play, but if the defense can kind of get back on track and the offense just kind of does what it does, I think the Cats can win this game.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what we need to do.
Yep.
All righty.
Bring some balance and just run the damn ball.
Run the
That's
damn
all I have
ball.
to say.
Run the darn ball.
But I wouldn't mind somehow finding a freaking wide open Tamacola or Taco somehow. Because the Grizz have given up some open play too. They've had some blown coverages. It happens to everybody. So there'll be opportunities in the passing game. So I guess that's their part is take the shots when they're appropriate. Take the shots when they're appropriate.
All right, fellas, this was fun.
Absolutely.
Alrighty.
Anything else anyone wants to say before we get out? All right. Well, let's look forward to some basketball podcasting here with Zach. Thanks for hopping on tonight to talk about Grizz, Cat Griz Part 2 here. This will be releasing on Friday, so hope everyone has a good Friday heading into the rivalry weekend. We want to thank Gear Up Sports for being our sponsor for this episode and for this year, and thank Wilbur Ellis for being the sponsor for the Golden Cooler segment. You can find us on Twitter at RRCatcast, the web, rrcatcast.com. Bobcat Nation, we hang out there quite a bit. And Foley and Zach, let's get out of here. Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.